So welcome to another episode of your Women Petpreneurs podcast with your host, Mary Oquendo. So my guest today is actually our sponsor. Okay. So I want to welcome Tina Davis. Hi, Tina.
Hello.
And so we're going to start off real quick with how you got involved in the pet industry. Let's start there.
How I got involved with the pet industry. Boy, that goes way back to 2008. And we started breeding Old English Bulldogs. We have Levitt line Old English Bulldogs. We got into it kind of by accident, fell in love with the breed, and we've bred them. I think we just quit this year. Our last female came up. We of course do the health checks and everything, and she came up with not a perfect hip and elbow. And so we thought, this is a sign. I think we're done. Besides that, I'm just feeling old, and I'm taking care of two litters a year is just ridiculous. So our last female was going to give us a litter, and it just wasn't going to work out. So we've quit that. But in working with the Old English Bulldogs, our daughters wanted a career in dogs. And so we started researching how to make that happen for them. And they both decided to become dog groomers. And then we started researching the best avenue to make that happen in our city. And we chose to go mobile grooming. And so we helped them get their business started. And in 2016, they started their own mobile dog grooming business. I was still working my job as a manager at a retail store in town, was hating it, and decided things weren't going well there, parted ways with that company, started working for my daughters, which I love working for them. I do their scheduling and keeping all their orders done, their ordering done, and just keeping them organized so that they can just concentrate on grooming. And I run the office. And then we went to several expos and just decided we need to have an expo in our region. It gets so expensive paying to travel so far. So the idea of bringing an expo here to the Front Range became an idea. And then they just kept encouraging me, Mom, you really need to do it. You really need to do it. So we did it last year. It was a success. And here we are back for year number 2.
Okay. So what's the name of the show?
Rocky Mountain Groom Expo.
Okay. In Colorado Springs, Colorado.
Yep.
All right. When you look at the map and where all the trade shows are, there's a huge hole in the center of the country.
Yeah.
Okay. And that can make it difficult for people to get to trade shows. Now, yes, I have online education that's my business. Okay. However, does not ever take the place of going to a live trade show. There's so many reasons to go to a live trade show.
People learn differently. Some people learn well on YouTube videos and through video, and some people need the hands-on. Some people benefit from both. You're right. There's room to learn from both.
Yeah. Well, there's benefits for an in-person trade show. All right. Mm-hmm. So one of the benefits is that you have vendors there. Okay. Yeah. All right. There's nothing for a long time. In fact, until the day I retired from grooming, I never purchased a pair of scissors I did not put in my hand first.
Yeah, my daughters either. They don't like buying them online. They really like going to, they have, and through that, they have a certain vendor who they prefer. Yeah. So, it was one of the reasons to go to Super Zoo was to go back to them.
Okay. Yeah. And Super Zoo is a huge show.
It is.
And it's probably one of my favorite shows to go
Ours
to.
too.
All right. But part of the reason it's one of my favorite shows to go to, it is not entirely a grooming show.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's amazing how, I don't think we've ever walked that whole show. It is so big.
You know what? It is really difficult to do it. I plan. So it is one of the shows. Like if I go to a grooming trade show, I don't plan anything. I just walk up and down the aisles. I'm going to see everything. Okay. There you go. But at Super Zoo, I have to be just a little bit more get my planning shoes out, and decide what are the must-haves. And if I have time, what are the things I kind of like to see.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
So you decided to set up a trade show in Colorado. And before we even get there, for those who are watching the video, okay, Tina has behind her this little lighted sign with the logo of the expo.
Yep.
My question is, where'd you get that? I like that.
I got it from Kings of Neon. I found them online. I found a couple of neon companies online, but Kings of Neon was just the way they spoke to me and dealt with me. I really liked them and decided to go with them. They're out of Las Vegas. It is not real neon. Real neon is super expensive. And this is actually an LED light. And so if it falls off that wall and breaks, it's not a hazmat issue.
Oh,
So
okay. Okay.
but
All
I
right.
love it. My son is a graphic designer. He works for a company called Wicked Think, and he did my design. And I saw the neon signs that are so trendy, and it's like that would look so cute in neon. So I ordered one.
How much did that cost you?
It was it was it was $488. I was trying to remember
Okay.
which company quoted me which. And they weren't the cheapest company, but like I said, I really liked how they spoke to me and how they made sure that it was going to be. We went through a couple of different designs. There was one that was all red, the background was red, and it was just too much red. And so they really worked with me on coming up with the right colors and making it look the way I wanted it to. So really liked them.
Okay. Well, price shouldn't be the only consideration.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
It can be a consideration, but it shouldn't be the only consideration.
Right. Quality goes a long way. And customer service.
Quality and customer service. There are things in fact, when I switched my platform from iPage over to Kinsta, I'm paying probably 10 times the amount of money I was paying for iPad page. However, that customer service and tech help when I need it is worth every single penny.
Yeah, that's funny. I did the same thing. I was with iPage and I switched my son and his buddy Riley, who is the web guru, said you need to switch to Kinsta. And he said you'll love being on Kinsta. So it's taken us a little while to get back online again because he had to redo everything. But we're back online and yeah, we're with Kinsta now.
Yeah. Like I said, it's like 10 times the price. But you know what? I still have other pages on iPage for other companies,
Mhm.
not mine that I do the tech for. And
Mhm.
when there's a problem, I will be on tech support for, I don't know, a day and a half.
Yeah. Yeah. I did not like being with iPage, and Riley he is my tech support. So whenever something goes wrong, I contact him and he is right on it. And he had trouble dealing with iPage, and Kinsta is seamless for him. So
Oh, seriously. I have an issue and I get on the little chat box there, and in 15 minutes, my problem is solved. And I'm like, thank you very much, because I got other things to do besides sitting here arguing with you. And I think there was pretty much one time on iPage, I had to tell them what to do.
oh wow, that doesn't surprise me. iPage, their billing was wrong for us. They kept billing me more than what they should have and billing me when they shouldn't have. And I just had a real problem with iPage. It just did not work well for us. So I was grateful for the recommendation for Kinsta.
They weren't always like that, too.
No, they
But
weren't. Back in the day, they were great, but
yes.
I don't know what's changed, but I don't like them anymore.
Well, Bluehost purchased them. So
Oh,
I don't know if they just cut corners on iPage because of
sure.
that. I don't know. But anyway, I have at the moment fealty to Keensta.
I hear you. Me
Okay.
too. I just got there and I'm already loving it.
Okay, so now you decided you were going to set up a trade show, and
Yep.
I've always said that is not on my bucket list. It's not. Is you know what? I would no. So no. So I applaud all the trade show directors that are out there who do this, because I know exactly how much work it is. And I'm like, I don't want to do this. You couldn't give me a trade show. I'd be like, "Gee, thanks.
Thanks for all the work.
Thanks. You know, honestly, if you actually give this to me, I'm going to turn around and sell it because I have like no desire to do this at all. But anyway, I digress.
I have really enjoyed it. Honestly, in our first year, I made a comment that I regretted saying. I said to Evolution Shares, I said, how hard can it be? So Abby said, you're going to regret saying it. She called it. She was absolutely right. I regretted
Could have
saying
told you that too. No,
it.
how hard could it be?
So it was a lot of work. But I tell you what, when Sunday night at 7 o'clock came around and we looked at everything that we had accomplished, it was worth it. It was a great show. I made so many new friends, and people who I'd only spoke with online, who I didn't get to touch base with. They had a great time. I mean, I got so much feedback from last year that even people that I didn't personally meet with had a great time, and was able to further their education and connect with great vendors. Year two was just a no-brainer. We got to do year two.
Okay. I heard, I didn't go last year. I had previous engagements.
Mhm.
Okay. But I was watching the show very closely and I heard nothing but good things. And the only things I heard that were problematic, I would chalk up to that was your first trade show.
Yep.
Okay. There was problems you could not have possibly foreseen.
There was, and we learned. And this year we're addressing those. And I had questionnaires for everybody to hand in. So if there was an issue that I hadn't specifically seen that other people experienced, they had an avenue to express that to me. And I've tried to address everybody's concerns. Sound was the big thing. And this year I think that week that we ended the show, I already bought microphones for microphones and speakers. So we're not going to have a sound issue this year.
Okay. Okay. There, you know what? It's like I said, it's a live and learn. You can't let perfection and thinking, I know I have to have everything perfect before you do something, because there's going to be issues that simply do not come up until you do the thing, and then you do the thing, and then
Wow.
wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The food trucks.
Oh my
I
God.
really thought that two food trucks should be able to feed everybody. Two food trucks was not enough. We're having four this year.
Okay, good. That was one of the things I wanted to talk to you because I was reading, it says food trucks.
Food truck.
Okay, let's talk.
Okay.
All right, because well, honestly, feeding me is just simply the way to get on my good side. I'll just simply,
That's the way to your heart.
that is absolutely the way to my heart. Do you know how many grooming clients simply tipped me in food?
Oh, isn't that great? I love Christmas
Oh my God,
goodies.
you're my favorite client. I had one client who literally was good enough. She could have opened up a bakery.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. She'd give me a little box of cookies and I would swear to you they would never make it home. Never.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yep. No, nothing wrong with that. You know? So yeah. Wasn't quite sure two food trucks was gonna be enough too. Four should be better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Last year, we had two each day. One food truck was so far behind, it was 45 minutes just to get a sandwich.
Wow.
So that food truck is coming back. But because I really like their food. But yeah, we're gonna have four. I've got three signed up. I'm waiting for a fourth. I'm hoping for a barbecue truck.
All right.
Um,
So what do you have so far?
I have Chow Down, and they are Italian food. And then
Mhm.
I have Colorado, Colorado native. He does sandwiches and burgers. And then the American Eagle Sandwich Company, they do amazing specialty sandwiches. And then I also have a crepes truck coming for breakfasts.
Oh yeah.
And then I
I'm
have
telling you, if anyone has not, when does registration open? Because that's the next question.
that it opens at 8. So people who are rushing to get there, don't worry, there'll be the crepes truck there. You can go grab a coffee. And I also have coffee trucks coming for both morning and afternoon. So if you
Awesome.
need your afternoon pick me up, there'll be a coffee truck there.
Okay. So I'm like gonna do a beeline to the crepe truck. I'm just tell you, everyone just get out of my way. Get out of my way. Okay, so I'm excited about that, and I think that's a little unusual. I think that's nice. I think that's a little bit different. There were a
Well,
lot of things.
other places are usually at hotels, and they usually have the hotel food, or they're downtown and there's other little restaurants around, and we're not in an area like that. So I figured we better bring food in to keep, so people don't have to leave. You want to stay there, and where Under the Sun Dog Training and Event Center is beautiful. We have an amazing view of Pikes Peak from there. So you can sit, they've got some areas where you can sit and relax, and lots of dog areas where your dogs can sit and relax and just enjoy the view.
Okay, cool. Very cool. Okay, so when does registration open for the show?
For the show, registration is going to start April comes first. April 1st. Tickets go on sale. And then May 1st, registration opens for the contests.
Right. So someone had told me that one of the contests that you're doing is, I don't know what you call, but it's like not a real contest where you could just like a make-believe contest.
A practice contest.
Ah, there we go. A practice contest. Yeah, because I've not ever seen that. Explain that to me.
We're calling it a mock show. When I was raising my kids, I raised my kids in 4-H, and they did a lot of animal projects. We had horses and chickens. And how do you learn to show a horse? How do you learn to show a chicken? I didn't even know you had to bathe a chicken before it goes to a show. But we learned by going to these mock shows that 4-H did. And they would have a judge there, and the judge would go through the steps of what to expect during a contest. And I thought, when kids are learning how to do this stuff, it's great to have classes to teach them. But why, as adults, are we expected to just know how something works, how something goes? So I decided we're going to take a page from 4-H, and we're going to do a mock show. And we have Hazel Christensen, Hannah Allen, and Jenny Smith, who are putting together this program where you're going to come on Friday afternoon, and you can register for the class. You have to register for the class. You can, it's going to be in the open stage, so you can watch just like you would watch a competition. So if you're not competing, you can watch it. But if you want to learn how to compete, enroll in the class, and it's going to be a 3-hour judged competition. And you're going to just bring your dog prepped and ready to go as if you're going to a contest. You need to bring your own table. You need to bring your own equipment, and it needs to be wireless. We're not going to have electricity in the ring because I don't want cords running everywhere for people to trip over. So wireless only. And then you're going to groom your dog as if it were a contest setting. And the judges are going to help advise you through it, give you help you if you're having trouble. And then we're going to take a short break, and we're going to go into a classroom. And those same 3 judges who watched you compete are going to do a presentation on how to prep, what to expect, and answer all your questions. So it's actually a 5-hour class.
Nice, nice. You know what? There's just touching base about 4-H. I think that I never had an opportunity to do 4-H as a kid, but I've had an opportunity to see the results of 4-H's and some of the other classes that I've done. I've done pet first aid classes, and the classes, in fact, I think you have Melinda doing the pet tech program. Okay. So that class is what we're told is that it can be boys over the age of 12 and girls over the age of 10. You know what the exception to that rule is?
What?
4-Hers.
Because they've already had the training?
No, because 4-H, that is such a motivated group of kids. Yeah. I don't know. They really are. They're kids who love animals, who want to be there.
Yeah.
And they're a different species of kid. I don't know how else to say that.
They are. Like I said, I raised all 4 of mine in 4-H, and all of them have the careers that they have today because of 4-H. One of my daughters is a pastry chef, and 4-H isn't just about animals. She did cake decorating and some other food stuff while she was in 4-H, and it instilled in her a love for cake decorating. And so she did dual enrollment while she was in high school. She took culinary classes at the college level while she was still in high school. So when she graduated high school, she had her culinary certificates. She could just go into the workforce, and she started her first job was at the Broadmoor here in Colorado Springs. The Broadmoor is a 5-star, 5-diamond, frou amazing place. And that's your first job out of high school. She owes a lot to 4-H to have landed that job.
Well, and there's also now in New York, in New York, they call them, it's something within the school system. Okay. They call them the BOCES program.
Oh,
Okay? Don't ask me what it stands for.
okay.
Okay. Other states call them something different, but BOCES is like the trade schools.
Yeah.
So my brothers went to, oh my God, give me a little time. I'll actually remember the name of the high school. But they went to the trade school in Yonkers, and one of my brothers went into the cooking program, went right into the military to become a chef, changed his mind and was like driving tanks or something like that. I don't know. But my other two brothers went through the mechanic program and literally started their jobs with good companies.
Yeah. 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 If you can get your kids into something that's a dual enrollment, I tell you, because Alice, my middle daughter, Steven, my son, who's the graphic designer, he dual enrolled and he took the graphic design class at the college. Emily had already been through school and they didn't offer it when she was there. So she paid for her trade school. But Sarah, my youngest, talked to the school and said, there's nothing at the college that I'm really interested in. I'm interested in dog grooming. There's a school here in Colorado Springs. Would you pay for that? And they did. So all 4 kids graduated high school with no college debt and with college education. So I'm all for 4-H, trade schools. I just think that it's a great way to educate your kids, and
Yeah.
you don't have the political influence of the college.
Okay. That's true. I dropped out of college.
I did too.
Oh, well, and here we are.
Here we are.
All right. So going into some of the things of putting together a trade show,
Mhm.
what do you think probably was your biggest challenge doing that?
Our first year was finding the venue. One of the reasons why it's not at a hotel like other expos are, there wasn't a hotel in Colorado Springs that wanted to host it. I talked to several hotels that had what I thought would be enough space, but they just did not want to host a dog event. And like some people have said, by finding Under the Sun, it's such a dog friendly venue. It's a kennel. It's a kennel on one side, and on the other side they have this huge building with turf that they do events. They do what's the event where the dogs go through the course?
Agility?
Agility. They do agility and they do all kinds of stuff there. And it's a huge building. When the one hotel turned me down and they said, "Have you looked at Under the Sun?" I was like, it's a dog kennel. This isn't that kind of event. And they said, "No, go check it out." So I went and checked it out, and they were the answer. And once we had that secure, everything started falling into place. Vendors have been, it's a little hard to convince vendors to come to a new show.
Mhm.
Because we're not proven. We haven't proven our numbers. Last year we had an amazing turnout. We had just over 400 people come through our door. So for our first year, that was a pretty big turnout.
No, I agree. I agree.
So we're expecting that maybe 450, 500 people will come this year. So if we can prove those numbers, maybe next year some of the bigger companies would like to come to the expo. But I'm happy with having the small vendors who us groomers love shopping with.
Yeah. And here's the thing too. I love small shows.
Yeah.
Okay. And the reason, okay, I like all trade shows. Let's just leave it out there. But
There's
but this is why I like the small shows. All right. So right now I'm in Washington. So the Tacoma the Northwest Grooming Show, that's the local show. It is a small show.
Mhm.
And you know what? You have plenty of opportunity to walk the show and talk to the vendors. There is plenty of time to take all the classes you want and still have time to do all the shopping you want. You don't have to say, well, gee, I got to finish up shopping. And you know what? Do I take this class or do I go shopping? There's a small show. That's not an issue.
Right. Right. And this year, one of the mistakes we made last year too was not putting breaks in between the classes. Um, I really understood how important a half hour break between classes is, not only for the instructors to be able to rewrap their mind around the next place they're going to teach from, but so that attendees have a little time to shop. They have a little time to burn. So
Yep.
that helps our vendors too. So there's half-hour breaks in between every class.
Yeah. Cause you know, speakers have to get something to drink and go to the bathroom too.
Exactly. Yep. Yep. So this year we're coming at it from a whole different angle this year. And we have 22 speakers this year. So I
Okay. So, and okay. How many speakers did you have last year?
think we had 18.
So that's okay. So you're growing. You're growing.
Yep.
Okay. Um, do you want to talk about any of the speakers that you have coming?
Yeah, because it's all been announced. Everybody, all the agreements are signed. So yep, everybody's locked in.
Okay, we have no choice now.
Exactly. You're coming.
All right, and I just want to make mention, right? So I am speaking at the show.
So excited to come.
And so my choice was to fly into Colorado Springs or into Denver. And I opted to fly into Denver because it's what, an hour and a half out?
Yep. Yep.
Okay. It's going to take me much faster to get to Colorado Springs because if not, then I get to do a crazy layover.
Oh,
So it's going to take me out of the way.
right.
And then I got to take the layover into Colorado Springs. So yeah, I'm flying into Denver. And it's nice to have that option because the reason I'm not doing the Groom Expo in Hershey this year is because I can't get a nonstop into Harrisburg. It is a layover.
Right.
And okay, whatever, it's a small airport, but none of the other bigger airports are within reasonable driving distance.
Right.
All right. So that means I'm going to fly across the country and then I have 4-ish hours driving to the show from whatever airport I landed.
That's a little excessive.
So yeah.
An hour and a half isn't bad. And if you, there's two ways to get here, either down I-25, which moves quite quickly. You could probably, instead of an hour and a half, it'd probably take you an hour and 20 minutes. Or there's Highway 83, which is very scenic.
I'm probably going to go Highway 83.
It's very curvy and very pretty.
You know what? You're talking to a retired mobile groomer. An hour and a half is like
it's nothing, right?
It's nothing.
I know. And I just want to say, I am so excited and blessed that you're coming to the expo this year because your class on mobile grooming is the very first class I ever went to at the very first expo I ever went to.
Okay, which show is that one?
Super Zoo.
Okay.
Yeah, and you had, I think it's the same kind of class. It was several. It was broken into several segments, and each segment had a different title.
That class has been totally reworked. It's now a 6-hour class.
Okay.
And there's a really nice workbook that goes along with it too. So it's been updated. I'm like really proud of that class and how it's evolved over the years.
Great. I enjoyed it. You know, gosh, that was 7 years ago I took that class and I enjoyed it. And
Probably.
you know, I still quote you from that class. The thing we quote most often is you don't have to groom every dog.
You can say no. You know what? That is the okay. So my first week as a mobile groomer, my husband, it was 2002, was unheard of. My husband most certainly never heard of it. And he was worried about me going to people's houses and stuff like that. So so for the first week, he rode with me.
Oh.
Okay? And he learned pretty quickly that it's fine. But I got to one house, and this was a really big learning thing for me too, right? So they scheduled for 4 dogs, okay? And they had the for sale sign in front of their house, okay? So I got there and the guy took one look at my husband. My husband he's Spanish. He looks he's a teddy bear, but he looks ferocious. Like if you didn't know him, you might if you're walking on the same side of the street, you might cross the street. And the guy was saying, we're going to pay you by check. And I'm like, for 4 dogs, it has to be credit card or cash. Okay. And I ended up only doing 1 dog. I'm pretty sure it was he was planning to write me a bad check. And then I would probably have no recourse on 4 dogs because apparently he was moving,
Oh, wow.
you know? So one of the things is that, you know what? If I'm pulling up to a house and there's a for sale sign,
Red flag.
that's a huge red flag.
Yep. Yep.
Anyway, all the things we learn as a mobile groomer.
I know. I know. We'll get stuck telling each other stories. It's like, I was there with you. I know this story. So, but the girls, I mean, we've learned so much. And but to have started on the right foot after going to your class, it opened our eyes to things that we hadn't considered in starting our business.
Yeah.
And I think at the time that we went to Super Zoo, we had only been in business for 4 months. So we learned from your class what we needed to change immediately and what it was okay to change. It was like you gave us permission to think a certain way. And because there just wasn't, at the time, there wasn't a lot here. I think there was only 2 mobile groomers here. Now I think we have 7. So, the area is growing, but to be at the beginning of that and to have your advice starting us off, it really meant a lot to us. And now to have you come into the expo, it makes me really happy. Full circle.
And I think I think one of the things that I had learned when I first started, okay, was that this was my business.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And my rules were my rules, and I could run my business any way I wanted to. Okay. I didn't have to, I didn't have to work Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. I could work whatever days of the week I wanted to work.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think that was probably, I went into mobile with that attitude. And I think that is really what got me past a lot of really bad decisions.
Yeah. 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 Because we make them easily. We make the bad decisions easily.
Oh, yes.
And then you're down a road that you didn't anticipate. And how do you get out of it? So,
You know what? Because those bad decisions sounded really good at the time.
right? Because you wouldn't have thought of it if you didn't think it was a good idea, right?
Right. Of course. It's a great idea. I think this will work. Okay. Yeah. Until you're like, oh, wow.
You're neck deep.
Wow. That was a really, really bad decision.
And that's why going to an expo and going to having a wide variety available in education.
Yeah.
If you're having an issue and you're like, and a class speaks to you, take it. Because, and even if there's 2 classes that have the same topic, they're taught by different people.
Yes.
It's a different perspective. So you're still going to learn something different. So there are a couple classes that we have that seem like they're a repeat, but they're taught by somebody different. There's 2 reasons I did that. One was because it is taught from a different perspective,
Yep.
You're going to learn something different. Also, because we have lots of classes going on in the day, if a class that you want is at 2:00, but a class that you really want is also at 2:00, well, this one is being offered at 3:30 by a different speaker. You have another chance to get the same information. So, it kind of, some of the comments I got last year was, I've never seen an expo scheduled like this before. I have my reasons. It's because I want people to have a wide variety.
Barkley also has done that too. Barkley has done, I remember it might have been at Groom Expo that they had like Bichon Day. And it was like 4 or 5 different Bichon classes, all taught by a different person. All right. Again, it's that different perspective. And I know people who sat in every single one of those classes. Okay. Because they pull out something different from how
Right.
somebody else does something. And it may be something so simple. You're like, wow, I
But it's
didn't
a
think
light
that.
bulb. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
It could be just a way they approach a foot. Maybe
Mhm.
I'm just going to throw names out because I just don't know. Maybe Lindsay Dickens' foot. All right. And then there's Jonathan David's tail. You know what I'm saying? It's just, you could pick up something different about how they're doing it
Yep.
and then put all of those pieces together for you.
Years ago, I had horses and I wanted to learn how to work with them and train them and play with them. And one of the horse trainers that we worked with said, you can watch 10 different horse trainers. They're all going to tell you the same topic, something different. It's all tools for your toolbox. The more
Yep.
tools you have in your toolbox makes you more versatile. And then when something comes up, you'll go, oh, I remember seeing this somewhere. And you've got the tools you need to move on. And to me, that was an aha moment. Even with the dog grooming, the more tools that I can offer groomers in the West and Midwest through the expo, I just think it's going to help everybody be better at their job. And when you're better at your job, you're more content with who you are and you live a more content life. My philosophy.
Hey, very cool. So if there was something you could have changed, not how I want to phrase this. If I know there was like mistakes, but that's not what I mean. I don't mean like some of the mistakes that you made. If there were different things that you could have done and how you approached the show. So am I making sense what I'm asking?
I don't know. I'd have to think on that because a lot of the ways that yes, I would have asked for help sooner.
Okay. You know what? That's a really good point.
Yeah,
Asking for help sooner.
yeah. Wendy Booth is here locally in Colorado Springs. People in Colorado know who people from all over know who Wendy is. And I should have reached out to her a lot sooner than what I did. She was such a wealth of information, and she's been a lot of help to me already this year. Lindsay Torb, I don't know how to say her last name, Torbine. She's from oh, now I'm speaking and I don't know what I'm talking about. She's from Denver and she has reached out to me through her salon and she's offering help this year. And her salon has offered to actually be here and help me do things so that I don't have to be running in 9 different directions. And that's what I was doing last year, was running in 9 different directions.
Okay.
So I've got actual groomers who are going to help like watch over the prep room, help the judges, and just do the things that if I don't need to be 2 places at once. I should have done that last year, but I didn't know, number one, who to ask. And number two, I didn't think that people would want to help. And I was really wrong.
You know, so when I first was learning tech, I had to learn all the tech myself. I was going
Yeah.
to learn everything. Okay. And sometimes it would take me days and weeks and months to learn something. Okay. So now my philosophy is this, right? If it's tech I want to know how to do, I will take whatever time it is to learn how to do it. If it's something I am not going to do again, or it's going to be so infrequent, why am I looking to do something? If I can't figure something out, my frame, my time frame right now is 15 minutes. If I can't, by reading the documentation, figure out how to fix something in 15 minutes, I go right to support.
There you go. Yeah. And that's a sound way of looking at it, because otherwise you're taking up your time with something that is insignificant. Have the things that matter count.
Yeah. So you know what? If I'm not spending hours, weeks, and months learning to fix something that seriously somebody knows what to do, can either, if it's maybe free support, I'm on the website, or maybe I just hire someone. Hey, I have no idea how to do this. I actually don't want to learn how to do this. All right. It is taking me too much of my time that I could be earning doing something else. Can you do this for me? And if
Yep.
it's a billable service, send me an invoice. All
Yep.
right. Because obviously, I'm not even going to care so much at this point that what it's going to cost, only
Right.
that they can do it,
Get it done.
get it done, get it done, and I can move on with what I have to do.
So years and years and years ago, what I went to college for and dropped out. I was a graphic designer back in the end of the 80s and early 90s. Before I had kids, I was a graphic designer. And I used to be able to, you know, zip through Photoshop and get done whatever I needed to get done. It's changed a lot.
Yeah, it
So,
has.
and I took, I left being a graphic designer to raise my kids. And so I don't want to learn how to do it. So my son, he is an amazing graphic designer, and Riley is an amazing web designer. So they are my people. I rely on them to get the stuff done. So because I could I can design. I haven't lost that talent. I love design, but figuring out how to run Photoshop, I'm not going to spend the time to do that. I
Nope.
have better things to do.
I have other things to do. So I thought like I could do reels, and I did a couple. All
Mhm.
right. And at best, you could say they're okay or serviceable. Okay. But they weren't good. Okay. They weren't great. And as soon as I realized that, yeah, you know what? I'm a fairly creative person, but there's some more to it than what I'm doing. And maybe I should just hire somebody to do this.
There you
So
go.
that's what I did.
Yep.
All
Yep.
right. So,
I have a friend who's a travel agent. And last year in May, she offered me the opportunity to go on a cruise with her. I was like, May, that's 2 months before my show. That's really stupid to go do that. Yeah, let's go do it.
yes, let's go do that.
So while we were on the cruise, her Facebook page kept posting all these amazing trips that she was advertising. I was like, Lori, when do you have time to do this? She said, oh, no, I have a service that does that. Oh, you're so smart. So she can be off doing the things to build her business internally, and the external stuff she's farmed out. It's just smart. You don't have to do everything. And that's what I'm trying to learn. I don't have to do everything.
And I think for women-based businesses, women in general, we have a hard time letting go of that.
Oh, I am such a control freak. You have no idea. Ask my kids. I am a control freak. So letting go and asking for help. I told Mindy Dinwiddie and Chris Anthony at the end of the show last year, they said, if you need something, ask. And I said, but you don't understand. It's hard for me because number one, I feel like I'm imposing. And number two, it's releasing control. Two things I really struggle with. So it's just nice to be surrounded by people who are willing to help and people who I trust that can do it. So
Okay. So, you excited about the show?
I am. I really This week has been really exciting. A lot of things have happened this week that it's like everybody got their speaker agreements back. That's a huge milestone.
Okay.
So
And I'm
we
going to
can publish
applaud you right there too, because
class list now. That's been submitted to my graphics team. So hopefully that's going to be live Monday. But yeah, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for year two. We've got so many new things planned. It's going to be great.
so I'm going to applaud you getting back all those
Oop,
contracts as soon as you did.
I lost you.
Can you hear
It
me?
froze. Are you there?
I'm here. What about you?
I can't hear you, Mary.
Okay. So that's no small feat, by the way. All right.
Getting everybody's signatures back. Yeah. 22 people. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The vendors, getting all the vendor information.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. All right, which is all the reasons why I would not want to run a show. I would not. Okay. All right. I take it somewhat back. All right. If I was to ever run a show, I would not actually be personally running the show. Okay. There'd be people whose job that would be to do that.
Yeah, I hear you. I find happiness in organizing chaos. Maybe it comes from raising 4 kids. I don't know, but I don't mind all the working parts.
Okay.
As somebody said once, how do you eat an elephant?
How do I do what?
How do you eat an elephant?
One piece at a time. Is that the answer?
Piece at a time. Yep. And that's how I've approached the show, just one piece at a time. The event space was first, speakers are next, vendors, and then the fun.
Do you have a checklist?
Yeah, I have several.
Okay. You're a woman after my own heart because I have a checklist for everything.
I have a board over there that has all of my stuff.
I could see it. I could see it. Yeah, I actually have on this thing.
Yeah, I I have lists. I have another big whiteboard in front of me here that has all of my educators' ideas, and it's just this is where I put all my ideas, because if I write them down in a notebook like that, what's buried in the pages and I don't see it, so I have to
Oh, no,
keep my
no, this is
ideas
electronic.
weird.
This is where all my templates and checklists go.
Oh, okay,
On here.
okay.
So, and it goes to the cloud. So even if I lose that, I won't die.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay. So, Tina, words of wisdom before we go.
From me or from you to me?
Words of wisdom. Come on.
Words of wisdom. If we stop learning, we die.
Oh, I like that one.
So, I mean, you've got to keep learning. You've got to keep moving forward. If you're feeling stuck, learn something new.
Yeah.
Even if it's not in what you think is your passion, learn something new.
Awesome. All right, Tina, thank you so much for taking time out of your day to be here. I really appreciate it.
Oh, I thank you, Mary. I really appreciate you taking the time to do this and getting word out about the expo. And I'm so happy to have you join us for the expo. And I think your class is going to be amazing. And just excited, very
All
excited
right.
for the summer. Winter needs to be over with so summer can get here.
Everybody join us next week. Well, actually, I'm going every other week. So join us in the next episode with someone else making a difference in the pet industry.